Hi everyone, I'm Eunice. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm gonna share with you my review of The Dearly Beloved by Cara Wall. A little bit about how I came across this book. So recently I did an on haul. I just find myself with different books that I think I'm no longer gonna read, or different books that I'm not really interested in anymore. So I decided to go to a used bookstore and sell those books to them, or just donate those books to them. So while I was waiting for my turn to be served, I was just browsing the shelf and I came across this book, and it's just one of those moments where I felt like this book was calling me. I always say that, but yeah, I just felt like I wanted to read this because I read the synopsis a little bit and I was interested, and just in exchange of the money that they gave me for the books that I sold to them and the books that I donated, so I purchased this book. So a little bit about the author. Cara Wall is an American author, and this is her debut novel, and I've never heard of her anywhere else. So this was really my first encounter with her and her book. So this book follows the life of two ministers, Charles and James. They were ministers of a Presbyterian church in New York, and Charles was married to Lily. Lily was an atheist, and she lost her parents when she was in high school. They died by car accident. And then James got married to Nan. Nan was a preacher's kid, but James at first was not a believer, and then later on became a believer. So the book navigates the dynamic of their lives in ministry, and also their wives who are completely opposite people with different personality and different background. So about my impression of the book, this was a lovely read, and I would say it was enjoyable. And it's just a good way to get a glimpse into the life of ministry, especially if you're familiar with the life of ministry, preacher, and all that. You will enjoy this book, and it's gonna give you a different perspective, because, as I say, Charles was married to Lily, who was an atheist, and then just this paradox of having somebody who's called in ministry getting married to an atheist. You're wondering how it's gonna happen, how are you guys gonna make it work. This book was narrated in the third person, which works for me because I didn't want to feel attached to any character. I didn't want to get so invested in them. So I was so content about just following their lives and see how it ends. That's it. One thing I like about this book is that I like that I was able to get a glimpse of what parents with children with autism was dealing with in the 70s, because the knowledge, the technology was not advanced as it is now. So in the year 70s, children with autism was often administered to a facility, which was a hard decision for parents, because some of them didn't want to let go of their children, and some of them were holding on to their children and figure out a solution on their own. Apart from the subject of autism, some other subjects were also brought into this book. For example, the Vietnam War, segregation, and social justice. Overall, I didn't hate this book. I didn't love it either. So it was just a lovely read that I was enjoying on my way to school, on my way back. I didn't get myself immersed into the story. As I say, I was really content into just watching the lives and see what's gonna happen. And I didn't get really emotionally attached to the book. I didn't want to get, maybe it was just a choice, I didn't want to get emotionally invested into the story, but I liked what I was reading, I liked what I was learning, and that's the thing that made this book an enjoyable read for me. I really applaud the author. I don't really know much about the author, if she's a believer or not, but I really applaud the author for her willingness to tackle a subject that I haven't really seen much out there, maybe because I just haven't researched much, but the subject of ministry, life, believers, and how a calling can look like for somebody maybe who's on the other path, and then they get a calling and now they have to make like a detour. Like, for example, for Charles, it was on the verge to get his PhD, and because he was really interested into history, analysis, research, and all that. And then James was really eager about social justice, change, and all that. So you have those two individuals with different paths, and then they receive a calling, now they need to make a detour with their life and really focusing on, okay, what's this call is really about? Who is God? How do you believe in God? How do you trust in God? And all those questions, those doubts, those uncertainty, those are the things that really made the read worthwhile, because Charles is dealing with a wife who's an atheist, and now you are a man who has a calling and your wife is an atheist, and when you guys met, he's telling you that I'll never believe in God, and you on your side, you are trying to figure out, okay, God, I feel like I have a calling and I feel like God exists and all that. So those differences in their belief, which are also considered as risky business, because I can just imagine, I was like, oh, I was really waiting to see how the author is going to explore this subject, because I was saying, like, this is a risky business. Like, how do you, a minister married to an atheist? Okay. So as you read throughout the book, I like the way she presented it. And also I like the way how, I'm not gonna spoil, but how Lily came to have, like, I would say, come to Jesus moments with her life with Charles. Not come to Jesus as literally coming to believe in God, no, but she has her awakening of some sort. And how the story was just blended in a way like, okay, now I understand what she was trying to say. But still, for somebody who, opinion can be divided about this book. I'm trying so hard to give my opinion without spoiling. Opinion can be divided about other people thinking like, okay, no, this is a no-no. You're a minister, how are you married to an atheist? And then other opinion can also be like, okay, how can that work? So as I say at the beginning, it's really a paradox. And for the author to take that leap of faith, or maybe that leap into writing such a book, I applaud her for that. Overall, as I say, it was a lovely read for me, and I enjoy reading it without getting emotionally attached to the characters. So I recommend you, if you're just curious about it, or you just want to know if really what I'm talking about is true, so you can pick it up and read it for yourself. Thank you so much for watching this video. Leave a comment, tell me if you heard about this book, or have you seen this book somewhere, you heard somebody talk about this book. Leave a comment and tell me that so we can chat about it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye.